Nope, nope, nope. You you need arms and legs and a driver's license to drive. How do you even buckle yourself in? Just because you're 16 doesn't mean you can drive. Welcome to another episode of Last Call Games, after you heard me screaming at a Dreamcast. Today we're going to look at Omikron the Nomad Soul. It's a really difficult game to actually review because it's just so... It takes so much effort to get far enough that you can actually, get a full picture of the game. Which is why I'm not actually going to get a score today. Maybe I'll come back to it later. But as you'll see later, as you'll see at the end of the video, I should say, I have other things on my plate at the moment. So, starting with the game. Omikron the Nomad Soul is a third-person adventure game, I would say. It's created by the director, I guess, of the game is a man called David Cage. Now, you may know of him from his later works. So it's like Indigo Prophecy or Fahrenheit it's called outside the US. Heavy Rain was probably his most well-known game, and then Beyond Two Souls, which was a big game for Sony a couple years ago. Kind of dropped with a thud, but whatever. Now, you may realize from all those three games that he makes a lot of really, really cinematic style games, which is fine. And in Omikron, the presentation is top-notch. I mean, the graphics look very good for a Dreamcast game. The areas you can explore are very large. There is quite a bit of loading, which I doubt it appears in the PC version as much. RAM limitations. The audio is great. I mean, there's tons of voice acting. There's also quite a bit of music from David Bowie, which got me a copyright strike when I posted the intro to the game on YouTube. Not a copyright strike, but whatever. So, basically in the game you play as Kyle. I think that's how it's pronounced, I don't quite remember. Who is coming from his world into ours. Shannon at the very, very beginning of the game breaks the fourth wall and is having you, the player, control his body in the game, which is kind of really what happens in every video game, but you know, this time he allows it, I guess. And in the game, you have to investigate these disturbances, I would say. Because you're a cop, or security agent, or whatever, in Omikron, this super town, or whatever. And so you have to go through and do all these things. And the problem is that it honestly reminds me kind of almost of like a really old computer adventure game, where you have to do every single thing in very specific order. You need to add this to this, to do this, and then make sure you open this door and grab this thing. And if you don't do it, then you can't unlock do the other things you need to do, and all that. I mean, it's one of the few Dreamcast games I actually used a walkthrough for. If you compare it to what's really the closest game to it in the Dreamcast library, which is Shenmue. Shenmue is a pretty straightforward experience. Yes, you're gonna get caught up every now and then in a few things, and a few of the QTEs are going to mess you up a bit. But still, you won't get lost, per se. I mean, I finished Shenmue 12 years ago, probably, now. And I didn't use a walkthrough for it. But I had to use a walkthrough just to get far enough that I could even give myself like the slightest hintling of an idea about what this game is about. And so obviously I haven't finished it yet because of lots of other things at the moment. So as I said, the game is really complex and really it's linear but not straightforward. You have to do each of these things in the exact manner that it wants you to, and the menu system is kind of cumbersome, so it doesn't really make it easy to do. Like, for instance, if you go up to something and you interact with like a person or whatever, it won't just like bring up something that says use item on person if it's an item that's necessary. Like one point near the beginning of the game, you're supposed to fill a prescription for sleeping pills. And in order to do that, you have to go up to the person at the pharmacy or whatever, and instead of talking to them, you have to go into your menu and then click on the thing and then click on use the thing. It's really cumbersome at its best. And that kind of time is not really its best. That said, the game has quite a bit going for it. The presentation is great. The story is pretty good from what I've seen of it at this point. This is, I guess, part one of the review. Really, I just wanted to make sure I get the last part in after this, but then, but there's so many issues with how the game plays that really make it that I could see why there hasn't been an Omikron 2. Besides the fact that Quantic Dreams and David Cage haven't made a sequel to any of their games. And from what I've heard, Omikron has a very loyal fan base and a very fervent fan base, so I'm not saying it's a bad game, it's not the type of game that I particularly enjoy. I like the type of game you can pick up and play for half an hour or so. This is not really one of those games. So, I'll go back. You're going to look at me. I'm going to talk a bit. I'll give you final thoughts, and I'll tell you the big news. It is so big, it must be shown in person. So that's, I guess, an intro to Omikron the Nomad Soul, which I was going to have the game case, but I don't even have the manual really, so. Now, as you can see, this area is empty. There's a tote, which you may not actually be able to see. Basically, we're moving. I'm moving. This operation is moving. We are moving from Chicago to Cleveland, Ohio, for various reasons that really aren't important right now. What is important is that because of this, Last Call Games is going on a hiatus for a few months. Who knows? Or maybe less, I'm not sure. Doesn't really matter right now. What does matter is that soon, relatively, we'll be starting back up in Cleveland. New place, new wall, no more paint smears. That's it. Maybe starting a podcast, but before then, depends. I'll definitely still be active on social media, Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram. All of those will still be going on at their relatively normal, regular pace. But the videos are stopping because, frankly put, most of my consoles are in boxes right now. It's just the Dreamcast, my GameCube, and the newest systems, basically. So, yeah. Join us next time when we will be probably reviewing something else. I'm probably not going to finish this review until later. Because, frankly put, this game is just kind of a slog. It's not super quick to get through. And with a lot of other games, you can play for an hour or two and pretty much have an idea of how the game is. With, like, say, a racing game or a sports game, you won't get to see all the content because there's usually a lot, but you'll definitely see how the mechanics are at play. But this one, you really don't. I mean, the combat is all I've seen so far has been, like, the training area. So, yeah. This game is definitely one that you pretty much have to finish before you can review. So, that's that. As I said, we'll see you next time, whenever that may be. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Thank you very much for watching, and make sure to subscribe and follow on all those social media platforms I mentioned so you can get better regular updates. Thank you very much. Last N64 game.